Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Rifdi. We will present about the reason and impact of Islamophobia. So this one is our members group. We have Arma Faris, Farah Fuad, Lagi Siang, Wan Farisa, and Nur Aisyah. So basically, for background of study 1.1, Islamophobia is a growing problem in Malaysia, leading to bias and discrimination against Muslims. It's also to promote religious tolerance and a diverse, peaceful society. Our study aims to understand the roots and consequences of Islamophobia by examining the experience and perspective of both Muslim and non-Muslim.
So let's move on to the first factor of Islamophobia, which is the media influence. So the influence of media is through social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So while technologies and social media have become integral to our life, they have also been misused to spread propaganda, including Islamophobia. There are irresponsible parties that have perpetuated negative stereotypes about Muslims, which is instilling fear and creating hatred toward Islam. Media outlets, including Western media, have contributed to the spread of Islamophobia through inaccurate information which lead to a misunderstanding regarding the image of Islam itself. Next, the other causes of this Islamophobia issue is lack of knowledge and true exposure to Islam. In Malaysia, there is still mistreatment and intolerance, including Islamophobia within this Muslim-majority country. So there are many individuals who rely on unchecked content they find on social media and the internet, and this leading to misconception and negative opinions. So there are examples, which is case of seorang Pen Cleverin, a former Dutch politician and anti-Muslim figure who converted to Islam in October 2018 while conducting research for an anti-Islam book. So we can see that even the former anti-Islam can have interest in Islam when truly understanding, even as Muslim, seek more knowledge for a better understanding of our religion is essential. Islamophobia has a big impact on Muslim mental health. They experience marginalization, social exclusion, and discrimination, leading to increased stress and mental health problems. There are surveys that show that Muslim students face bullying, and the presence of Islamophobic views make daily tasks challenging and raise the risk of self-harm. Other impact of Islamophobia is that Islamophobia violates the right of Muslims. Women in particular suffer due to misconception about the burqa, leading to harassment and abuse. And there are cases like the placement of firewood and dick pics had at a Muslim woman's home demonstrate the invasion of privacy and harm first.
This is the ways to combat Islamophobia. As we all know, combating Islamophobia requires a lot of effort and a broad approach in order to promote the understanding, the empathy, and respect about this matter. So basically, media plays a very major role or important role in shaping us and shaping public opinion. As we all know that we rely on media a lot. So by promoting media literacy and critical thinking is very important in order to combat Islamophobia. And from our findings also, we found that Western media outlets have played a major role in spreading Islamophobia through false information and negative representation of Muslim and Islam itself. So these social media companies has been actually criticized for not adequately um, addressing the Islamophobic content. So by promoting responsible use of social media and adherence to technology ethics, it will preventing us from false ideologies. So education and the faith dialogue also is one of the way to combat Islamophobia by dispelling misconception and promoting the understanding about Islam and Islamophobia itself. So by doing this, it will provide an accurate information about Islam through school curricula, community programs, and also interfaith initiative. At the same time, we can confronting and exposing bias acts in the media, promoting responsible social media use, boost education in interfaith dialogue, and also participate in interfaith discussion. And by doing this, also we can work together and build a diverse, accepting society that respect each other throughout any religious belief.
Now, I'm going to present the methodology used to complete the research. For this research, the qualitative method was chosen as the approach to collect data, and the interview method was selected as the research instrument. A total of 3 individuals, including 2 students and a teacher, were interviewed based on their free will, and the interview was conducted via online platforms, which is Google Meet and Microsoft Teams.
So for question 1, introduce yourself and your background. Respondent 1 is Miss Anis Hazira binti Hisham, 20 years old and is based in Kulim, Kedah. She is currently an undergraduate student of computer science in University Technology Petronas.
My name is Muhammad Rifdi. We will present about the reason and impact of Islamophobia. So this one is our members group. We have Alma Faris.
Question 1. So she is Nohalis Elisha binti Sharizad. For respondent 2, she is 22 years old and live at Puchong. And she also diploma student at College Newcom and take diploma in university services.
The third respondent is Mrs. Nazina binti Abu Bakar. She is 45 years old, worked as an information technology teacher at MRSM Kubang Pasu, and she based in Kepala Batam.
So for question number 2, can you explain what Islamophobia means to you? Respondent 1 say that it is the act of being prejudiced or being afraid or discrimination against a religion, which is Islam. Most of the people unfairly stereotype or exclude Muslims based on their belief and their cultural background.
So basically, for question 2, she answered Islamophobia means irrational fear and discrimination against Islam or people who practice Islam.
So respondent 3 was said that Islamophobia means having an irrational fear or prejudice against Islam and Muslim. Some people may have a negative view about Muslim based on stories that they have heard.
Question 3, what are some common stereotypes associated with Islamophobia that come to your mind? So for respondent 1, it is when people call Muslims as terrorists and stereotype as violent and oppressed women, and they also don't want to be the part of society. However, these stereotypes are false and harmful as they created negative biases and prevent unity of the society.
She said they wearing jubah while do sexual dance in social media. Have kidnapping case in Genting Highland, who the kidnapper wearing jubah and niqab while do kidnapping. So it's made public have other perspective with who wearing jubah or niqab have a bad intention and they feel not safe around those kind of people.
So from this perspective of respondent 3, Islamophobia include a common stereotype like thinking that all Muslims are terrorists. They also have assuming that Muslim women are oppressed and forced to wear a hijab. So this stereotype show that some people who have Islamophobia actually have not personally have a bad experience with a Muslim, but they have a fear based on incorrect ideas of Islam.
So for question 4, how do you feel about the issue of Islamophobia today? As for respondent 1, she's very concerned about this issue. Even though there are many efforts to promote the understanding of Islam, it can still be seen that they are prejudiced. So it is vital to address this issue and create more accepting environment for all people from any religions they practice.
So responding to the issue of Islamophobia increased because the no-hate parties wanted to do the right action toward people who did something wrong against Islam. So, for example, burning the Holy Quran outside the mosque at Stockholm, which is in the Eid Adha Sweden. So, someone who have authority to stop them and do a punishment to teach them respect other religious sensitivity.
So respondent 3 thinks that Islamophobia is a big issue that cause a division, intolerance and discrimination. So it will stop people from understanding, respecting and living peacefully together.
Question number 5. In your opinion, what is the main cause of Islamophobia? As for respondent 1, it is when people lack of knowledge and understanding of Islam itself, which is they don't have proper insight of Islam and they just tend to believe what is forced them to believe, and some of them might be wrong. This is because it might be misinformation of the arguments, especially related to biased media and negative stereotypes. It will then cause attract fear and prejudice among people.
Police said the main cause of Islamophobia is 11/2001 attack in New York, so also called 911 attack. Series of airline hijacking and suicide attack committed in 2001 in 19 military associated with the Islamic extremist Al-Qaeda against target in the United States.
She was said that Islamophobia arises from not knowing enough or getting wrong information and also having a biased opinion that have been influenced by the media, politics and personal experience. So Some people that have a lack of understanding about Islam and limited interaction with a Muslim will contribute to fear and have a bad stereotype.
Question 6. What are some misconceptions that people, especially non-Muslim, have about Islamophobia? From respondent 1 point of view, some people, especially non-Muslim, may mistakenly believe Islamophobia doesn't exist or is exaggerated. It is important to recognize the reality of Islamophobia and its impact today. This is because ignoring and downplaying it can perpetuate discrimination and hinders social harmony.
Of respondent 2, Qisas or hudud, which is the punishment that has been determined by Allah SWT in the Quran and Hadith. They're questioning Islam, why they have to do kind of punishment in Islam, and they have their own perspective, which is we have to look forward to human rights.
So the respondent was said that Islamophobia is not just a criticizing or disagreeing with Islam. Some people only see a few Muslims who do a bad things or have act violently, so they mistakenly believe that all Muslims have the same belief.
Question 7. Can a person's thoughts and values shaped by their surroundings and parents since childhood affect their mindset and behavior? How does religious teaching play a role in shaping future generation? For respondent 1, it is yes, the person's thoughts and values influenced by environment and upbringing. So religious teaching can actually shape future generation, but it is crucial to separate them teaching from misinterpretation. Open dialogue and respectful discussion is useful to prevent misinformation and also prejudice. It helps them to grow their mindset beyond the horizon and think critically.
Yes, a person's values are shaped by their surrounding and parents since childhood. Parents need to lead by example in order to instill a good mindset in their children. So, Islam teach importance of having a good akidah and good attitude toward other, emphasize respect for other religion.
Responding 3 believe that parents, family, and society have a big impact on how we think and what we believe. If a parent or society say a negative thing about Muslim, so we might start to believe these things are correct. The same goes for what the majority of people think. If most of people have a negative thought about Muslim, even if we didn't believe it before, we might start to think that in that way too, just because everyone else does it.
Question 8. Do you believe that the media plays a significant role in influencing Islamophobia? Why or why not? For responding 1, media gives off a huge impact on Islamophobia. On how Muslims are portrayed in media often causes negative stereotype and also bias. So responsible media coverage which is accurate and balanced is crucial to inhibit Islamophobia.
So for question 8, she believed that media play a significant role in influencing Islamophobia. Is it because our eras live with media, our routine used to live with that, so the core influence in from there.
So what respondent 3 was say is, in today's world, we can easily find information on the social media. So people often believe what they have seen in the social media. That's why the media can influence Islamophobia by sharing a bias or a backstory about Muslim.
9. Why do you think the media tends to spread propaganda about Islamophobia more than other religious issues? For responding 1, media is prone to individual and societal prejudice. So it is possible that certain journalists or editors have prejudice against particular religious group, which result in excessive coverage of Islamophobia in comparison to other religious issues.
She said media tend to spread propaganda about Islamophobia more than other religious issue because they feel not safe with Islam. They want to rebel and they feel so attacked with the 911 cases.
We know that profit is the important things from any company, including from media sector. The media often focus on spreading Islamophobia because it will grab attention and increase their audience or readership. They like to cover a topic that will interact the public and bring them a profit.
Question 10. Do you think Islamophobia will continue to increase in Malaysia? Can non-Muslim Malaysians comfortably live in multi-religious society, considering Islam is the official religion and everyone has the freedom to practice their chosen religion? For respondent 1, she doesn't see Islamophobia will increase in Malaysia and hope will not so. As long as Malaysian doesn't cross the boundaries, be respectful to each other. So non-Muslim can live comfortably in multi-religious country by increasing inclusivity respecting diversity and upholding values of equality in Constitution.
And then she disagree with Islamophobia will continue increasing in Malaysia because non-Muslim nation are completely comfortable live in multi-religious society, and they also know that kind of information.
So she said that the future of Islamophobia in Malaysia is really depends on education, interreligious dialogue, government policies, and community attitudes. It's important too for society to avoid stirring up a racial tension that can lead to disagreement and um, make Islamophobia getting worse. So as long as we can take care of this thing, we can stop Islamophobia from happening in Malaysia.
Question 11. How does Islamophobia affect individuals and communities? For responding 1, it hampers social unity and undermines the value of diversity. For example, if a Muslim lives in a big community of non-Muslim, it creates sort of anxiety or fear of being judged by them because they dress more modestly as for women. And also hijabis, they are being catcalled. This can trigger their mental health and they will avoid being in public. As for communities, it is hard to blend in with the other society and they keep belittling Islam and avoid being in touch with the Muslims.
So basically, for question 6, she said Islamophobia obviously affect individual and communities by other religious and ethics minority insecure in public space and their everyday encounters with other because is it not only experienced by Muslim.
She said that Islamophobia has many negative effects, including discrimination, hate crime, exclusion, and limited opportunities for education and employment. Discrimination attitude can also make a country or a business suffer. So I will give you an example. Muslim expert in a certain field may be overlooked and unable to contribute to their own country just because of their religion. So this will make the country lose expert from Muslim people.
Question 12. Have you personally experienced any incident of Islamophobia? And if not, what solution can you suggest for combating Islamophobia? For respondent 1, respondent doesn't encounter any Islamophobia incidents. Islamophobia itself can be reduced by sharing more insight and information about Islam or Muslims, encourage interfaith dialogue, and challenge stereotypes through media literacy, and adopt inclusive policies and practices in society.
Question for 12. She have experience she saw a kidnap incident by herself at Genting Highland. So her suggestion is we have to add more knowledge about Islam and have a strong base about our religion. And for non-Muslim, they have to do the same thing for change their perspective on Islam.
Personally, the respondent have never directly experienced Islamophobia. So in her opinion, the best thing we can do is to lead by example for non-Muslim. So non-Muslim people may not knowing Islam through the Quran or Hadith, but they can learn about it through our behavior. So by consistently showing a good character, we can help others to understand us better.
Question 13. From your perspective, what are the impacts of Islamophobia on education? For responding 1, Islamophobia can affect education of Muslims. It hinders learning experience for Muslim students because it creates the feel of isolation and discrimination. Their well-being at school and their achievement will be affected because mental pressure and lead to unfocusedness in class. It also creates low confidence and lack of self-esteem and create peer pressure environment.
For question 13, what's your perspective what are the impact of Islam in education? So affect Muslim students to learn in their class. They got bullied, harassment, this kind of situation make a female student want to take off their hijab just to make sure they in peace to study. So that's student just for Muslim student lah, especially for the female.
So she said that Islamophobia affect education by making the school environment scary for both Muslim and non-Muslim students. It can lead to bullying, harassment, and unfair treatment, which limit the opportunities for learning and socializing. So non-Muslim students may feel unsafe around Muslim due to the negative belief. Muslim people also face the difficulty in making friends and participating in school activities.
Question 14. What is your opinion on the impact of Islamophobia hate speech on social media? For responding 1, Islamophobia is very concerning because it is not perpetuating discrimination but also incite violence and further divide society. So, social media platforms must enforce strict policies and against hate speech, and people should promote empathy and respectful dialogue and tolerance online. Also, educate people on media literacy and critical thinking can empower them to recognize and challenge Islamophobic narrative on social media.
Next question, which is question 14. Yes, based on the psychological impact of individuals, Islamophobia hate speech can be harmful to the mental health and well-being of those who are targeted. So, constant exposure to disparaging and hateful content can cause tension, worry, and feeling of insecurity.
For the last question, she gave an opinion that hate speech against a Muslim on a social media, such as spread of false information, will strengthen a negative stereotype and make discrimination against a Muslim people will look normal. It will also divide a society. So, if these people engage in hate speech, it can create anger among some of the people, which may result in a violence from the others who are upset by their action.
So from here we can conclude that it is indeed true that Islamophobia is widely discussed topic throughout the world, particularly in the West, since these countries doesn't have a higher population of Muslim. So media influence and ignorance of Islam is the factor that contribute to this matter. And we all know that misinformation about Islam can spread easily, and it's very obvious through social media, leading to hate speech and unquestioned acceptance. And also, the lack of knowledge can lead Islam, can allow the formation and assumption and theories about Islam without any proper research. And this kind of behavior, Islamophobia behavior, such as viewing Muslims as terrorists, considering Islam as a violent religion, and burdening Muslim women, can we can point it out on media itself, because media is the one that shape us, and media is play a significant role in shaping public opinions. And the downside about media, because is that it is also shaping Islamophobia through bias and propaganda, and this will affect individuals and community, fostering fear, discrimination, and also social exclusive. So by upbringing the surroundings and religious teaching also influence people's mindset to the positive interpretation and education about Islam. So by combating this matter, which is by combating Islamophobia, we can build an inclusive society, understanding, tolerance, and critical thinking.